Coming up next on Channel 6 News, the Foot are about to get the boot. This is your look at the new NECA toys, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles April O'Neil versus Bashed Foot Soldier. After being accidentally exposed to radioactive ooze, 4 ordinary household pets are transformed into a band of wisecracking, pizza-loving, villain-dicing adolescent reptiles. Meet Leonardo, the super-cool, sword-wielding leader, Raphael, the jokester, hurling manholes and one-liners in rapid succession, Donatello, the brain behind the brawn, and Michelangelo, the ice-cream pizza-gobbling party animal. Whether it's facing fierce enemies or saving humanity from near extinction, with the guidance of their sensei, these heroes in a half-shell are always ready for straight out of the sewer action. Before we get a closer look at a brand new April O'Neil and a brand new retooled Foot Soldier, the first thing we're going to do is figure out how tall the figures stand. Right out the gates, I do feel like April O'Neil is a little on the short side. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Stopping, though, the tape measure at the very top of her head. I'm going to stop it right there. She apparently is only 4.6 inches in height. As I said, I do feel like she's a little on the short side. And switching that over to centimeters, then you're looking at the figure standing 11.8 centimeters tall. And switching that back then to inches, as then we're going to calculate the Foot Soldier, there's nothing really different with this Foot Soldier that we haven't seen already, other than a brand new tooling to its mid-tummy area. You say tummy area for a Foot Soldier? Nonetheless. According to my tape measure again, taking it to the very top of the Foot Soldier's head and stopping it right there, obviously he's going to be a lot taller. It is going to be a lot taller than April O'Neil. Just by how much? The figure stands 6.6 inches in height. And switching that again to centimeters, you're looking at the figure standing 16.8 centimeters tall. Yeah, I do feel like April could be a little on the short side. Just kind of give you an idea. We'll bring in Leonardo, and we'll bring in Michelangelo. I assure you that I have Donatello and Raphael somewhere. I'm just not sure where I've put them, but trying to give you still an idea of how tall April stacks up to some of the other turtles. I feel like she should be maybe like either a head taller or half a head taller. She's not roughly the same height as the other turtles. I know it does vary in the cartoon. Sometimes she appeared a little taller than turtles. Other times she was just a little bit taller. But I still feel like she should be a lot taller than what she actually is. And then to, of course, give you some other size comparisons. Another human character, we can bring in the Shredder. Just again, show you. I mean, like Shredder, if you look at him, Shredder's really not that much taller either. But there's something, again, about April where it just seems to me like she's way too short for the rest of the figures that NECA have released for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon line. In typical fashion, NECA delivers once again a lot of accessories with both these figures. Both April and the badly damaged Foot Soldier come quite packed with a whole bunch of accessories. Let's have a look at those right now. Why don't we start first with this cute little critter. She does come included with one of the pizza aliens, one of my favorite episodes of the old vintage Turtles cartoon. And though this one will be growing up much larger, much deadlier, and scarier looking, we sort of get an idea of a little miniature version of what the little pizza alien looks like. It's very nicely colored, I must admit, done in a very orange color, with the piercing black eyes and the big smile on his face. I don't know if I would consider that a smile, but gosh darn it, I mean, it does look like he's smiling at us, doesn't he? I mean, I would love to get more of these. Just send out a big old pack, an accessory set. Multiple Mousers, multiple alien pizza aliens, why not? Just throw those all in there. I would be picking that up in a heartbeat. It doesn't have any posability to speak of. No head, no hand, no leg articulation. He's basically just a statued piece. A nice little accompanying piece to come included with the figure. Sort of in the same size, April or the Foot Soldier, either one of them, does also come included with the Maltese hamster. Remember the episode, the Maltese hamster? Doesn't stand out as much to me, but still a nice little accessory to come included. Again, talking about these, I've said this frequently over these NECA reviews of the Turtles toys. I mean, when you get these episode-specific accessories, even though right off the gate you may not remember the episode The Maltese Hamster, The fact that you could then go back if you have those episodes either on, I don't know if Netflix carries them or not, but certainly if you have like the old DVD releases of the season sets, to go then back and have these figures in your collection, and then go back and be able then to watch the episode that the accessories appear in, you gotta admit, is pretty cool. The detailing is nicely done here on the Maltese hamster. There's nothing really on the underside, but as you can see, it's been very nicely painted with little areas of the nose, little blocky nose, and a little blocky eyes, I should say, and a little nose there. Just again, a nice little accessory, episode-specific accessory. Something else that comes included with April, the more familiar of things that you would expect to find with the figure. She does come with her little turtle compact communicator. It's different from the ones that turtles have, and yes, it does actually open up. It's just a matter of getting your fingers in there. Careful, I'm sure you would want to be still, that you don't accidentally break it, because there's just a hinge joint that's kind of keeping everything together. If you're ham-handing these, of course, yes, you will probably break these in a heartbeat. But very nicely painted on the inside there, both on the screen on the top as well as the colors and keypad down below. It closes up, and it does technically fit into her hand. You can take it and just kind of sort of wedge it in her hand. Sometimes what I actually like to do is to open up the compact, just like that. And again, just be very careful. Sort of just get it wedged in between her fingers and her thumb. Now, this normally would be the time where the accessory would pop off, land on the floor, but I'm going to be my best to not do that. As you can see, that she does actually have the means to hold it. If you had the flat hand used on the figure, then yes, you could probably just have it displayed on her flat hand. She doesn't have a hand that looks like this, for example. The option is only really like flat hand or the gripping hand, so it doesn't really give you many choices to choose from. If you go with the flat hand, then it's just a matter of balancing very carefully, not drop it on the floor. But you can display it like that as well. I think for me at least, I probably would just display it in her hand like this, and just again hope that it doesn't fall out of her hand, and that would make me really, really sad. She also gets herself some Channel 6 equipment. Both she comes with a little portable recording device with an attached Channel 6 speaker, a little microphone that she can carry around with her. The labeling of this 6 is a bit on the rough side, but again, for the size of this, considering already how small April O'Neil actually is, just the fact that she does come included with some actual equipment if she's going to be a reporter after all. Nice to see that she actually comes with some reporting equipment. This is a softer plastic, so you want to be careful of this, that it doesn't fray, tear, or otherwise break off from the rest of it. You can actually take it and you can fit it around. What I usually do is I just take the microphone first and I feed it through her hand. Just to kind of take the end of it, drape it through her hand like that, and then just sort of snake its way through. Not pulling it from here, because again, you're probably going to run the risk of breaking it, and then just pop it in her hand just like that. Once that's in place, and she's ready to do the news, then you can go ahead and take the little audio tapes there. Not really audio tapes. Little recording there, and we can just put that onto the side, and then again, she can ready to go and discuss the news. Now, the thing about it, though, is the shoulder strap. It's supposed to actually just fit underneath her collar. There's just not enough of a gap. I may find myself just heating this slightly to bring the collar a little higher up. So then I can take the strap and feed that underneath. As it goes right now, just immediately getting April out of the packaging, I find like the collar is just a little on the low side, so I really have to kind of fight to get it underneath that. Might find myself again just heating up that collar. The other accessory, while we're still on the topic of Channel 6, she does come with a standalone mic. If you don't want to have her displayed with all of that strung on her shoulder, she does come with a standalone mic, and she also comes with herself a news camera. Now, you could certainly display her with the camera, but I got to think that Vernon, when he's going to be released, is probably going to come with his version of the Channel 6 camera as well. Nice detailing also done on this. We already sort of discussed the microphone. This one really isn't that much different, short of the fact it doesn't actually have the little line running out from that. But certainly the news camera is a nice touch. With both 6 on the side and 6 on the other side, it has all the detailing that the cartoon would have, right down to the actual viewfinder. Unfortunately, the viewfinder, as you see here, is very messily presented here and painted in blue. Down below, it's not bad. It's nice and clean, outlined in dark black. But unfortunately, like the viewfinder, I'm sure could see better days. It's a little on the messy side. I don't know if it's actually the blue that's overlapping it. I think it's more so the black frame that goes around it, where the black has sort of bled onto the blue. From a distance, again, it's not too bad, but really, certainly, when you look at it really close, you do see a lot of that black bleed happening. Again, really nice to see a camera included with April O'Neil. After all, she is going to be a news reporter. She should, you would think, come included with Channel 6 equipment. And thank goodness she actually does. The only other thing that April O'Neil comes included with is a pair of gripping hands. I've already gone and taken the liberty of popping one of the relaxed hands, which happens to be the one on this side, off this side, and I've swapped it out with the gripping hand so she can hold the microphone very securely. If you do swap the hands, one thing I really want to stress this is that the watch that she has on her wrist is a separate piece. And be careful that you're not going to lose that. So what I do is I hold on to the watch and I just pull the hand off just like that. And then from there, if you want to go and revert back to the original hand, make sure again that the watch is very securely attached to the peg before putting it back onto the forearm like that. I guess they could have molded this, or I guess molding it probably would have been difficult because then they would have to gone in and painted it. They kept it as a separate piece, which is a nice touch, but again, there's that risk. There's always the potential that that's going to fall off. And if you're too quick to pull and yank the hand off without realizing that this is a separate piece, no doubt you'll lose the watch. And again, you'll be sad. A lot of sad things going on. Other than that, I mean, when we look at the April herself, of course, now that we've had a look at all the accessories, it's not a bad looking April, although my biggest concern again is I feel like she's really small on proportions. The head is pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with the way that the head turned out. It does have still cartoon accuracy to it. Panel lining has also been included as well, not only to the areas around her eyes, the eyebrows, but also little areas on her hair get that extra little bit of love as well. Some areas that the panel lining hasn't lined up to the sculpt is present, but again, when you're seeing it, you're probably going to not notice the fact that the lines don't completely line up to at least the sculpting. I mean, it is there. I mean, obviously I have to state it, but it's still enough that it doesn't stand out too much, certainly. She has panel lining going all across her body as well. Anywhere there would be wrinkles or things on her costume, not everywhere, mind you. I feel like if you put on every single thing, like little creases all here, you would just have too much of it. So NECA is smart where they place the panel lining, so it's not everywhere. It's just enough to convey the way it looks actually in the cartoon. But again, if you look at her head is very large, and I feel the head is probably the best size to the figure. It's just really the rest of the body where I feel it's way too small. She's very small on the limbs, small on the legs, but most importantly, she's just a very short-looking figure. Again, if we just bring in, say, the likes of Leonardo, I know we already sort of did a size comparison. We put them side to one another. Not only proportionately, I feel that she's way too small, but I would probably have even increased her height to probably maybe about there or so. As it does change in the cartoon, it's hard to really pinpoint how tall she is. Sometimes she does seem a little shorter. Other times she seems a lot longer and taller in the leg. I also feel like her leg's a little on the short side. Maybe these could have been the things that they would have increased the length to. But again, overall, proportionately, she is a bit on a tad short side. I like the coloring on her, and the sculpt on the face is generally quite pretty, as well as for the rest of the body. But really, again, the problem with the figure is I feel like she's a little too short. And I don't really know proportionately where it falls. Like the torso, maybe if they had made the neck just a little bit longer, as it seems like the neck almost gets lost when you put the head on top of it. I mean, it's beautiful looking, April, but I just feel like she should be a lot taller than what she actually here is in figure form. For the articulation on this figure, the head rotates all the way around. It hinges up and down, and you can also rock her head back and forth. The shoulders hinge out at a 90-degree angle bend. You don't really have to heat these if you don't want to. I usually just take the figures out of the packaging and I don't have any issues. I may just want to go and play with the figure's joints just to break down and loosen those up a bit. But generally, I don't have to heat the figures. She does have a double hinge on the elbow, one hinge right there and one hinge right there, allowing a double hinge on the elbow bend there. Hands rotate all the way around and hinge back and forth. As well, additionally to that, April O'Neil does have a ball joint in the upper torso, legs split out, concealing by the fact that they used a rubber overlay there to hide the joints. The legs can move forward and back. She has a swivel on the top cut of the thigh, double hinge on the knee, and then when it comes to her feet move back and forth and also up and down. She has a nice little ankle pivot. The other thing about April's feet I want to draw your attention to is that she does have peg holes on the undersides that would normally attach to a display stand. The problem with it, though, is unfortunately the way that they've put the peg holes in, they're not nearly deep enough. That I did notice when I tried to put her on a standard NECA display stand, the peg wouldn't go far enough in, and therefore attaching to the figure securely. I mean, she stands okay. I don't have issues with her toppling over necessarily, but if they put peg holes in the undersides of her feet, I wish that the peg actually could sit far enough in, and that simply just isn't the case with April O'Neil. Putting the figure down here now, and let's move on over to the foot soldier. We'll have a look at all of his accessories. He comes with a couple of Dimension X laser guns. This one we've seen certainly before, several times over. Every single time we seem to get a foot soldier, we get this stock issued weapon. It has not changed really all at much at all, really. It's a lighter kind of gray color with some bands done in black, as well as the handle, of course, is done in black. So again, it just looks like the way it looks from the cartoon. Not much to talk about there. Nice detailing, by the way, also done on the end, where they put the little red little dots there, also on the end, where the lasers, of course, be shooting out. This one, though, I don't recognize, in all honesty. I don't know if this has been now a new issued gun that came included with the foot soldier, as I certainly don't recognize this one from previous releases. This one is very interesting because it does have like an old sci-fi look and feel to it, kind of like the way that it has the coils on the end of it, with a little bit of yellow that's been incorporated in there as well. It's blue, and it's certainly a different contrast to the one that we already have gotten before. Again, I don't recognize this specific gun if we've actually ever seen it before, or if it's brand new on NECA's part to incorporate it. So again, those are some nice little firearms that come included with the foot soldier. In addition to that, it also comes included with a communicating device. In this case, we have Bebop on the front of it. Ones that we've gotten in the past, I think, were Shredder and both Krang. I don't believe we've ever gotten ourselves a Bebop, so that's kind of nice. We can add that to the stacked pile of communication control pads that have come included with the previous released figures. Some nice detailing done on the back there, panel lining both on the top end of the paneling as well as on the bottom there as well. So it's nice to see that we get those included. The foot soldier also comes included with a couple of shurikens. If your choice is both black and orange, then you're in luck. That NECA includes both of them with their release of the foot soldier here. They don't seem like they change all that much. The thickness and shape and size are all the same, except, again, one is orange and one is black. There's no other real place to put this on the foot soldier either. Those shurikens are always things I tend to put back in the packaging, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to be the things that I'm going to lose. And then the last, and certainly not least, when it comes to the foot soldier, he or she or it comes included with a whole series of interchangeable hands. Currently in the sockets are just the defaulted ones that I got out of the packaging, a pair of closed fists, but the foot soldier also comes included with a pair of flat hands, karate chopping hands perhaps, some gripping hands of both the left and right variety, as well as also gripping hands for holding the weapons. So you get those also as well. Moving April O'Neil just out of the way for the time being, we'll bring in one of the earlier released foot soldiers just to show you that there's nothing really different between the two other than the new sculpting that they put right around this area here, focusing on my fingers, of course. This is one of 2 different unique sculpt foot soldiers that we're getting with the new NECA released Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The one other one is the one that came included with Casey Jones, which his review will be coming up shortly. Casey Jones' foot soldier saw worst days because his whole torso was completely severed, only being suspended by a little red post. This one is a little bit more intact. though there is still considerable damage to be had. We'll grab the 2 foot soldiers and put them side to side so you guys can see the difference between the two. Not really much has changed, honestly. Although I do feel the eyes stand out a lot better on the newer release than the one that we had gotten before. This is one of the original foot soldiers. This is the newest one right here. The eyes are definitely much more visible. As I said, it almost seems like the yellow is a lot lighter, and the panel lining around the eyes seems a lot more solid. As for the rest of it, doesn't too much change other than, again, the very noticeable damage on this particular foot soldier. This is exactly what I'm talking about. NECA taking existing molds that they already have in their inventory and finding creative and clever ways to do it. With the foot soldiers being robotic in the cartoon of Turtles, I mean, it makes perfect sense then for them to go back to this mold and then find different ways to manipulate and change the tooling on it. In this case, we've got quite a damaged looking foot soldier, where all you can see is mechanics on the inside of it, sort of how he ticks. Really nice touches the way that they've done that. And they've also brand new mold too, because it obviously goes way far in there. I really like how far deep that actually is. You can see some wires sticking out. Again, you've got, I guess, the larger, maybe this is the actual mechanism that allows the foot soldier to rotate its torso, and that's the thing you're seeing. Even if you look way deep in there as well, at the very top, you've got some additional yellow wires and poles and stuff sticking inside. This is, again, I really love the fact that they did this. I mean, down the road, I'm sure they could probably continue to do this with foot soldiers, giving us varying degrees of damage that the Turtles have dispensed to these mechanized drones. I mean, again, you could have like completely severed off heads. You could have missing arms, missing limbs. As you'll see, of course, the one with the Casey Jones, its torso is completely just halved, and then it's a separate piece with just a post, literally just a post connecting the top to the bottom. Other than that, I mean, there's nothing really that's been changed on this particular release. I was trying to think in the back of my mind, like, would they have made more sense to release Splinter along with April O'Neil instead of just a stock foot soldier? I'm sure the plan down the road is going to be releasing Splinter. Maybe he's going to be released with maybe like Hamanta Yoshi, for example, where it's going to be a human version of Hamanta Yoshi, and there's going to be the rat version of Hamanta Yoshi as Splinter. That could possibly be what they're planning in the pipeline. So in this case, like I said, we only get a foot soldier to come include with April, but at the very least, it's a foot soldier that has something going for him, and it's not simply just a stock one that we've gotten before. Articulation on this foot soldier, the head rotates back and forth. It's on a ball joint, and it moves up, and it moves down. It moves, well, rotates all the way around technically if you wanted to, and it also hinges back and forth. The shoulders hinge out at not quite at a 90-degree angle bend. This one arm is a little on the tighter side, but again, just a little bit of moving this back and forth and manipulating it, I'll soften and loosen that joint up, I feel, without the use of boiling water. But the arms do go forward and back, no problems whatsoever. It swivels on the bicep. It has a double hinge on the elbow. All the same fixins that we got with the other previous released foot soldier. Hands rotate also all the way around and hinge back and forth. This one has just a straight swivel in its waist. The legs split out, and because there is that slice in the tunic, it allows the legs to quite freely do a splits. A full splits, really, if you wanted to. Legs go forward, legs go back, as a swivel on the top cut of the thigh, double hinge on the knee, and then when it comes to the articulation of the feet, no different than the one that we looked at before. Also has an ankle pivot, and yes, this foot soldier does have peg holes on the undersides of his feet, as well as articulated toes as well. A nice touch to see they included that. Before we head on over to final looks on these two figures, I just want to go back and talk about the camera, because I failed to mention that it does have its own posability to it. You can bring the handle down, and it can be displayed with April O'Neil. All you have to really do is take the figure, bring the arms up like this, bend the elbow, and you sort of can twist it towards her as well. The handle grip is just wide enough that you can take April's hand and fit the fingers in between that opening. Now, I don't know necessarily if this camera is going to be the same one that we're going to be getting with Vernon, or if he's going to have his own version of it. But like I said, it does fit it. It does allow April to hold the camera in her hand like that. Or you can also even do it where you can bring the arm up, bend the elbow here. And you can actually take her one hand, slide it into the top section of the handle here. And you can run the other hand down below here. And you can actually have April O'Neil looking like she's using the camera. I wanted to add that to this part of the review because, like I said, I felt, to really point out the details on the camera. And it's certainly a great way to display April O'Neil if you don't want to have her displayed with the microphone. With the release finally of April O'Neil for the Turtles cartoon line from NECA Toys, I thought this would have been the opportunity, the prime time, to introduce Splinter. The only other main character, unfortunately, that hasn't yet gotten a figure. I'm not really sure why. The opportunity certainly would have been there to put him along with April, but I guess they had bigger plans in mind for Splinter the Sensei with a future release down the road. Instead, April gets packed along with a foot soldier, and thank goodness it's not just a stock foot soldier that we've gotten already. After all, in the Turtles cartoon, when the Turtles realize that they're fighting robots and not humans, they allow themselves to let loose and really scrap the foot on top of the rooftop. NECA, taking that idea, ran with it. So instead of just getting a regular foot soldier that we've gotten already in 2 packs, already gotten packaged with Turtles, we finally get ourselves what I've been asking for from day one, battle damage version of foot soldiers as well. This not only is the only instance that we're getting with April O'Neil, but also Casey Jones gets a battle damaged foot soldier, and looking forward to having a look at him as well. I feel personally we've gotten ourselves enough of the regular foot soldiers that, like with the Turtles letting loose on the rooftop, NECA Toys could let loose on future releases of the Foots, all badly damaged and different from one another. April O'Neil is a good-looking figure, though I feel she's a little on the short side. When you really put her next to a regular turtle, you realize how small she actually is. In the cartoon, I know her height changes, but it still is taller than the Turtle brothers. So I feel like when it came to the release here of April from NECA, she's a little on the short side. She should have been a little taller. Her head is a good-looking head sculpt, but I feel like maybe it's either her body is too small, it's her legs that are maybe too small, but she does come across a little too tiny for my liking. Still a nice looking release. We are now 1 figure away, I guess, from getting the main cast of crew of characters from the Turtles cartoon, and of course that is Splinter. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be getting ourselves a Splinter soon. There's, of course, a lot of cool figures coming out through the pipeline from NECA Toys. So if you're a fan of the Turtles cartoon figures, not only with all the stuff that we've been getting up to this point and all the future releases, we pretty much get every character we could think of, at least of the main characters, whether we are still going to be getting ourselves all the villains and stuff. I mean, for the fact that we've already gotten ourselves a Leatherhead and a Slash, we're getting, I think, a Rat King, and we're also getting ourselves an Android Krang. There's a lot of cool stuff in the pipeline coming from NECA Toys. Speaking of NECA Toys, I'd like to send out a big thank you to the folks over at NECA that made this review possible by sending this my way. If you're in the market, by the way, of picking up April O'Neil and the Bashed Foot Soldier for yourself, it's already now starting to hit retail stores. I've seen people picking these up at their local, I think Targets are the one stocking these right now. So if you're in the market of picking up April O'Neil and the Foot Soldier, you should be able to find them right now. Also, if you're new to the channel and liking the content you're seeing, and want to stay on board this train and see how far it will take you, consider the idea, if you haven't done so already, to hit that subscribe button down below, turn the bell notification on, and stay tuned, because there's definitely going to be a lot of videos coming your way. And we're going to be having a look at a whole upcoming lineup of Turtles toys. So if Turtle is your fancy, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle original cartoon that is, keep your peepers peeled to this channel Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because there's definitely going to be a lot of NECA Turtle reviews lined up and coming your way. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.